Hello everyone, it's the 1st of August 2026 and I just wanted to go through the current geopolitical events of the day. There's been some significant escalations in the Ukraine-Russia theater and the US-Iran theater. So there's some breaking news that we've just received from the Wall Street Journal. As you can see over here on the right-hand side, the RSS feed, I'm using, by the way, MapBoard, which is a map drawing and editing software, which is completely free. I've got the link in the description below. Trump has just ordered fresh attacks against Iran as the war enters its 6th month. US officials said that the attack could begin as soon as this weekend. If we zoom into the map here, we can see I've selected Iran and I've colored it red. I've got the Russian flag here in the Bushehr region, which is a city on the coastline of the Persian Gulf in Iran. That's where the Iranians enrich their plutonium, which interestingly enough doesn't get mentioned much by the American media. It's primarily the Fordow region of the enriched uranium, which I will place on the map up here with a particular icon. As you can see, with the MapBoard software that I'm using, it's easy for you to drag and drop different icons onto the map to visualize what's going on in the world at the moment. Okay, so getting back to the current events, if we start with Iran and the United States, I will go over here to the LLM, and what I'll be able to do is plot the current events, particularly bombing campaigns as they've been openly reported by the media and by Central Command of the United States. I'll be able to plot those different operations on the map and get a clear visualization of what's going on. So over here on the right-hand side, I've got the LLM map JSON. I've selected OpenAI as my AI provider, and the model I'm using is ChatGPT 5.6 Terra. It's got my OpenAI API key, which I've got as an environment variable on my computer. So I hit web search, I'll type in prompt, plot the current news of the day listed below. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste in my news article that I found online. And what this will do is it will take the context of the current MapBoard as it is, with all of the different colors, all of the different flags, their latitude and longitude, the different units on the map. For instance, you can add intelligence bases right here in the UAE. You can add a nuclear facility here in Isfahan. And it will take this, the LLM, the AI, will take this context of the map and it will apply it to the prompt and return a JSON object that we can import directly into the map. This, by the way, is using the software called MapBoard, which I've found very helpful. The free download is in the description below. So I'll hit generate on the AI. And like I said, it will return an array of different objects that I can now analyze on the map clearly. Today's news is primarily associated with Russia and Ukraine and Iran and the United States. But I'll also note that there was a situation in Morocco and Spain, which is very important. I'll just bring a draw tool in here because it is another strategic choke point, a shipping choke point, very important for geopolitics. Okay, so my AI has returned the JSON object. I'll click apply to map. And as you can see, we've got these little map nodes that have come into effect to represent different situations that have happened. If we start with Iran, it's just the basic Strait of Hormuz, which hasn't particularly changed in the last 3 months. If you click on the map icon, it's just reported Iranian restrictions on shipping And here we are at Bandar Abbas or Keshem Island. US strikes on IRGC targets. So that gives you a clear, up-to-date representation. There's also a situation here in Pakistan. I'll just go ahead and make that green and then show the name of Pakistan. And there's this brown hexagon that we have here. If I hover over it, it says Balochistan mine blast. Reported deadly coal mine explosion in Balochistan. Balochistan. Exact site not specified. So once again, the AI is taking the current events of the day, the news, and it is representing it as items on the map for you to visualize and analyze. So it's great. This kind of software is great for analysts, educators, content creators, or just hobbyists and enthusiasts who are looking to get a better understanding and visualization of the world map and the current events. Okay, so I'll scroll over here to see what's going on in Israel. I'll select Israel, make it blue, show the country name. And if we see the dot here on the map, it's a recent development according to current events. The Gaza Peace Framework. Reported Board of Peace proposal, disarmament, withdrawal, governance, aid, and sequencing remain disputed. So this is related to the current event of Hamas, terrorist organizations, reportedly agreeing to some sort of disarmament program, according to Western media outlets. The breaking news, as you can see, this software has a news app feature on the right-hand side. It's just an RSS feed that pulls news headlines from the major outlets. You'll see the second one down here from the Wall Street Journal that's just been reported only 20 minutes ago. Trump orders fresh attack against Iran as war enters the 6th month. The US officials said the attacks could begin as soon as this weekend. And what this is President Trump. He's just spent Friday at Camp David with his most hawkish members of his cabinet, Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, and of course his Department of War cabinet official. And they have decided, coming away from Camp David, that they are not pleased with Iran and the advancements that they've made on the different negotiations. So they are ramping up attacks and putting the pressure on Iran to come to the negotiating table, or at least figure out a solution to the conflict where there's either a regime change in Iran, a full-scale degradation, or some sort of deal that they can come to over the Strait of Hormuz, and the most important thing, the nuclear disarmament agreement, because the official United States policy is that Iran must not have a nuclear weapon, and they also must not be working towards gaining a nuclear weapon. There are some other important components of the Iran conflict as well, which is maintaining free navigation through the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf, and ensuring that Iranian proxies in the region are not posing a threat to the stability of the region. That would be Hamas, Hezbollah, the militias in Iraq, and the Houthis in the Red Sea in Yemen. So I do actually want to represent the Houthis here as a little proxy group controlling this, or not so much controlling it, but threatening the Bab de Mandel. And I'll go ahead and draw a hostility circle on the Houthi stronghold here, and add a text box to show that this is the Houthi region. So this software is really good very beneficial for clearly representing what's going on in the world at the moment and the current threats. You can also add different three-dimensional units, which I think are very helpful. If you recall, there was the passenger plane that came in from Iran. It was very contested and believed to have carried couriers for the Iranian regime, the IRGC, giving direct orders to the Houthi rebels. So I can represent that here with the plane. I can make this plane red to represent Iran and make it a little bit larger. And also I can draw a flight path as well to symbolize where the passenger plane came from, carrying the couriers from the Iranian regime. Okay, good. And I'll make Yemen yellow. Okay, moving on now to the Russia-Ukraine theater. There have been escalations, I would say very significant escalations in the Russian-Ukraine war that the United States and other Western media outlets haven't really been talking about much. And that is the event that just happened yesterday on the 31st of July, given today's the 1st of August. And that is this little warning sign here in the southeast region of Poland. A Russian cruise missile came down in an open field in Poland just yesterday. And that's reported here. The KH-101 crash near Tarnowa, Colonia, during a Russian strike on Ukraine. Poland protested to Moscow. And what happened here is Russia overnight was targeting different parts of Ukraine. As you can see, that is represented here with the warning red triangles on the Ukrainian map. You can go ahead, select those, and see different reports of those current events on the map. And so Russia used the cruise missile attack on the Ukraine, the ballistic missile attack as well, I believe, overnight. And there was one of those missiles that did hit Poland. Now, this is very important because this is an escalation. There are reports out, there were leaks by Western intelligence agencies, NATO intelligence agencies earlier this month, or I should say earlier in July, that warned Russia was going to test the waters of NATO's resolve and pushback against Russian escalation. As we know, the Russia domestic situation has become more hot, more contested, and the citizenry of Russia are becoming more discontent with the future of the war and their future in general in Russia and what it means to them with the continuation of escalation. If I look through my notes here, Poland scrambled F-16s and was prepared to shoot down any sort of Russian aggression if it came into populated areas, which it didn't. And it's actually a very important point. What we're seeing here is a very slight incremental escalation of the Russia war with Ukraine, further drawing in NATO and testing the resolve. If we go to prior intelligence warnings about the Russia threat, in June and July, and I'm reading here, multiple Western intelligence assessments and official statements warned that Russia was preparing provocations aimed at testing NATO's cohesion and response thresholds, particularly on the eastern flank, Poland and the Baltic states. And this came from, that's end quote, this came from Latvian intelligence and Polish and allied sources as well. So this is clearly the United States warning these countries that, and NATO in particular, that if they are wanting to take the Russian threat seriously, they need to do something about their domestic defense and their resolve. You'll notice there hasn't been much conversation or hasn't been much pushback from the French or the British in this situation. Both governments of France and England are very weak at the moment and facing domestic political pressures, regards to domestic issues. They also have high budget deficits and weak financial situations in their countries at the moment. France, to be fair, has been dealing with wildfires, and we can represent that here on the map by just dragging and dropping these different icons and making a note of it as well. So this has been, that's the wrong button, make a note. right, or I should say make text right here on the map. Wildfires. I do believe as well that there have been over 50 arsonists, suspected arsonists, that have been arrested in France over the last few weeks regarding those French wildfires. But a very muted response from the British and the French really concerning the situation. It's just been Poland. Poland's government has summoned the Russian ambassador to address the situation regarding this cruise missile that dropped in the empty field. It's clearly a deliberate test by the Russians to escalate the conflict, to try and draw in a further front. And of course, the buffer country, as you can see on the map, between Poland and Russia is Belarus. And I'll represent that here in yellow and show the name of it. Okay, that has been the update for the day. The software I'm using is called MapBoard. As you can see, it's a standard drag and drop map. It's a map drawing tool. There are many different objects and items, different units that you can add on the map. You can represent wars, past conflicts. You can drag infantry soldiers on the map, change the colors, add notes, particular objects on the right-hand side. It is a JSON map, so it will take into context the entire map as it currently is represented, and then you can feed it into the LLM. The program also has a journal feature as well. If there is anything in particular that you would like to make note of and then color code it, it is documented and saved to disk in your My Documents folder. If there was a particular headline that you thought was interesting, you can select the item in the RSS feed on the right-hand side. You can add it to journal, and then you can go over to your journal tab, go to news, and you can represent it here. You can add notes as well. You can save it, and you can change the color of it for a clear representation. And so you can remember what has happened in the past, and you can start to accumulate different repositories of information to give you a clearer understanding of the world and what is going on at the moment. Okay, fantastic. That has been the daily report for the 1st of August. You can download the MapBoard software from GitHub for free, and you can start using it. It's very simple. The link to that download is in the description below. Thank you very much.